It's about the you. It's like it's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Like it's like here, let's look at this political oddity. You know, it's like it really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. You know, how can you now speak the truth when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie? Now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you.
Sunny Hostin learned the hard way that showing up to a Gutfeld roast unprepared is a recipe for disaster. Timpf and Greg Gutfeld teamed up and delivered such a savage verbal takedown. It could be used in psych classes under emotional damage via dry humor. What exactly was said? How did Sunny almost implode on live television? Get ready. This verbal demolition was so intense, even Joy Behar played the never met her card. Let's break down the mayhem.
Whoopi became the smart ones.
For me, the most shocking thing about the conversation was how truly boring it was. They're like, well, the cicadas, they're cicadas. Okay, but it was like every 100 years. No, it's every 17 years. Do you know how many Emmys this show has? 31.
31 Emmys?
This show has 31. I mean, I'd hate to see the conversations that don't make headlines.
Sunny Hostin's week was cruising along, or as normal as it gets, when your job involves sitting on national TV and selling opinions like they're facts. The View was functioning like a school group project, everyone smiling while silently judging each other. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, came the unexpected clapback storm that changed the whole vibe. Asterisk.
Some news, the feral monsters of The View say they've never heard of you-know-who. True, the show that makes mornings hell claim that my name doesn't ring a bell. It's time for...
Our view on The View. Ugh.
Yeah, the witch's coven finally shows me some lovin'. Yesterday on The View, yours truly was the subject of conversation. Apparently, the broads have no idea who I am, or so they say. Hit it, Gladys.
They said that Gutfeld talks about you all the time.
Who is he? Really, who is he?
I don't watch the show.
He has a show.
I don't watch the
never
show.
heard of him.
Yeah.
I guess he's just obsessed with me.
No. Next, Joy's going to say she's never heard of...
But this wasn't just your average clapback. It was a full-blown Category 5 snark hurricane straight out of the Gutfeld playbook. A world where sarcasm is the currency and smugness is the dress code. This wasn't a heated debate or a head-to-head exchange. In fact, Sunny wasn't even in the same room. That's what made it sting more. She got absolutely roasted from a distance.
Her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair. But obsession? I mean, come on, Joy. Where would you even get that idea? Like Joy Behar's face, it's looking worse and worse by the day. More full of crap than Joy Behar after a night of scotch at Taco Bell. Her being named Joy is like me being named ugly. Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. It now smells like a humid day inside Joy Behar's moo-moo. The motives stink worse than Joy Behar's jog bra. I mean, assuming she jogs. Oh, wait, there she is.
It was a satirical sniper attack carried out with pinpoint accuracy by Timpf and Greg Gutfeld, who zeroed in on Sunny and decided, yep, today's her turn in the hot seat. Tim glided in like a stealth plane of sarcasm, delivering witty jabs with a laugh. Gutfeld played ringleader, turning the moment into a public dissection of what he sees as the fragile, preachy bubble of daytime TV, and Sunny, unfortunately, became the headline specimen.
In the face so I can feel something. You know, it's like so boring. He's like, yeah, I like Instacart, but don't worry, I tip the poors. But, you know, Joy, you actually don't like Instacart, and you do like the store. And then Joy is like, yeah, I do. I like to go to the store. I like to walk around and see what's at the store, what I do want, what I don't want. Maybe I want tuna fish, and I just want to hit my...
Let's be clear. Sunny didn't break down in tears or ask for tissues. There were no emotional outbursts, but the unraveling. It was a slow, almost poetic collapse. The kind where the person being roasted doesn't even realize it's happening. Her well-rehearsed confidence began to show cracks, one wobbly take at a time. Those once razor-sharp talking points now landed like foam darts, and her signature confident smile became more plastic than powerful. The reality is, you can prep for debates or backlash, but you can't prep for becoming the punchline of a show you've long pretended doesn't exist. That's the kind of hit that shakes the whole set. It wasn't a single joke. It was a performance in how to unravel a persona. Sunny Hostin's TV image is like a dramatic soap opera lawyer dropped into his stand-up gig. The gravitas, the drawn-out pauses, the righteous vibes, all great for daytime fans. But when comedians who eat self-importance for breakfast turn that energy into comedy gold, suddenly gravitas feels like overacting, the pauses look like buffering, and the indignation, that's just set up for another laugh line.
You pretty surprised that they didn't know what this show was?
No, I'm also not surprised that there's one part of the video from the show yesterday that you left out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, can we roll that, please?
I don't watch the show that much, but I've seen it.
Who is that?
Who is that?
Greg Gutfeld's one of the hosts of The Five, who, if I don't have anything nice to say, I generally don't say anything at all. I would just say this, his show should be called Timpf, not Gutfeld, because she's the funny one on it.
Somebody's flirting with little cat over here.
Well, she's the Republican one at the table, but I just think as a libertarian, I'm always looking to find common ground with other people because nobody really shares my politics. So I find some common ground in The View where she thinks I'm funny and I agree.
What made this roast so devastating was how little effort it took. Cat Tim didn't raise her voice or launch into a tirade. A simple eyebrow lift and a knowing chuckle was all it took to detonate the sarcasm bomb. She reshaped Sunny's public comments into a carnival of absurdity, making it clear the View bubble isn't exactly built for outside air. Gutfeld, always ready to stir the pot, made sure this wasn't just a jab, it was a roast with theatrical flair. With smug delight, he highlighted the vast canyon between his panel's dry mockery and the moral theater of daytime TV. It was an unfair matchup. Sunny didn't even get a swing in. It was like watching someone get hit in a dodgeball game without ever holding a ball. And the best punchline, Sunny's silence. No tweet storms, no cryptic Instagram quotes, not even a smug rebuttal, just stillness. But that quiet said everything.
They're turning on me. So that makes Sunny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all. Because everyone knows the moon caused the eclipse, which is controlled by the View's gravitational pull.
It was like the classroom genius suddenly clutching their notes too tight. The vibe shifted. You could feel it. The difference between being roasted and melting down is simple. The roast ends when the jokes do. But Sunny kept reacting. Not with words, with her whole energy. Her monologue stretched longer. Her once composed tone veered into desperate territory. There was an almost comical push to reassert how smart she was. Like someone defending their use of irregardless. At a vocabulary contest, the internet pounced. TikTok animated her expressions. Twitter turned her face into looping reactions. And YouTube dissected her tone like it was JFK footage. Her fans stayed loyal. But the broader world saw the truth. Being mocked from afar. And still spiraling. That's what leaves a mark. This wasn't just a Sunny takedown. It was a full-blown critique of the View's self-importance. Its ivory tower vibe. And its habit of treating debate like a moral inquisition.
A 4-year-old was mocked by The View over his name, prompting Musk's child to exclaim, "Daddy, I didn't know hippos could talk." Sausage maker Johnsonville is recalling more than 42,000 pounds of pork sausage for possible contamination with plastic fibers. Fortunately, authorities were able to track all 42,000 pounds to a single location in New York City.
And Gutfeld didn't just clap back at Sunny's points. They bulldozed the pulpit she was preaching from, all with a smirk. It's not that Sunny lacks intellect. She clearly has it. But that's what made this so entertaining. There's something uniquely satisfying about watching a smart person walk right into a trap, built from their own ego. Sunny thought sincerity would protect her. But satire doesn't play by those rules. It feeds on sincerity like fuel. And while Sunny nursed her wounds in silence, Gutfeld and his team had already moved on. Probably drafting their next comedy hit featuring another overly serious media figure. Meanwhile, Sunny tried to act unbothered, sipping her coffee like the house wasn't on fire behind her. It was performance art. The The decorous denial of someone whose show just got gate crashed by professional clowns. Wielding punchlines instead of torches, they didn't just mock The View. They exposed it and walked away with the last laugh.
Ah, you look tantalizing. You know, I make fun of The View a lot, but that's only because they keep talking. Because COVID also taught Sunny Hostin how to get her groceries delivered.
3 years, that's when I discovered Instacart. And I give them a big tip because they don't always pay their people well. And so that's been an issue, I think, for the company. But man, you can get toiletries, you can get fire logs.
Fire logs? She had to tell the audience that she tips big because even she knows she sounds insane.
Never even had to name her. That's what made it brutal. Gutfeld and Tim simply held up a sarcastic mirror, and Sunny leapt forward to smash her own reflection. That's when you know someone's rattled. When a vague roast prompts them to stand up in a crowd and yell, "How dare you?" like they've been caught red-handed. That's not a defense, it's an admission. Tim's deadpan delivery and devilish charm dropped a roast broad enough to hit anyone, but only someone feeling guilty would take it personally. And Sunny didn't just get dragged, she basically strapped herself to the roast and screamed, "Come at me." Meanwhile, Gutfeld watched it all unfold like a man enjoying bad improv, knowing the actor has no clue they're the joke. And the best part, they barely tried. They just brought the tone, smart, smug, with a side of frat boy fun, and Sunny unraveled on cue. It was almost generous how much of the heavy lifting she did herself.
Brains are small, but who's the dumbest one of all? True, none of them are in Mensa, but who's the most densa? Perhaps it's Sunny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart. Now, The View could ask a mirror who's the dumbest one of all, but there's no way that glass doesn't.
That's how you know they won. Not because Sunny fought back, but because she reacted to blows that were never even thrown. It was like she stormed out of a party she was never invited to, and then called security to complain about the music. It's hard to lose a battle that never happened. But she pulled it off with theatrical flair, complete with stern looks and dramatic timing. And the viewers, they feasted. Watching someone implode over a roast that wasn't even addressed to them was peak entertainment, like Succession meets daytime TV, with a twist of reality show chaos. Not because it was profound, not because it was deep, but because nothing's funnier than ego trying to wrestle with comedy and getting slammed by its own seriousness. Comedy doesn't ask for permission, it just hits, and Kat and Greg had perfect timing. While Sunny performs another polished monologue, Gutfeld's probably scribbling his next bit with her name still pinned to the dartboard. Not out of spite, but because the best satire feeds on those who act like they're too important to mock.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions? Like you said, it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist. She injected skin color into a fairly generic behavior seen in all spouses, regardless of skin color. People marry, they listen to each other, they have something in common with them, they share their political views. She just didn't want to upset her husband by saying her husband makes her do everything, and then she'd have to accuse him of being.
And that's the true sign of defeat, when someone starts reacting to shots that were never even fired. Sunny practically exited stage left from a show no one asked her to join, then called in reinforcements because the vibes felt hostile. It's hard to lose a fight that wasn't fought, but she managed with style. Those stern looks, the time pauses, the overly rehearsed concern. It was Emmy-worthy implosion. Meanwhile, the audience, winners all around. Watching a media figure spiral over a roast that barely mentioned her name was better than any scripted drama. It was messy, unfiltered spectacle, not classy, not meaningful. Just pure comedic collision between ego and satire. And in that cage match, dignity rarely survives. What it leaves behind, though, legendary clips, meme gold, and sound bites begging for remixing. Sunny didn't lose because she's weak. She lost because satire doesn't care how smart you are. It only needs timing. And Gutfeld and Tim, their timing was brutal perfection. They didn't just serve a roast. They let the silence cook her after it ended.